Okay, I want you to pay attention to this one. In the span of just a few weeks, Donald Trump has floated the annexation of Canada, the takeover of the Panama Canal, and a military invasion of Mexico. And now he is turning up the heat on Greenland by threatening to hit its parent country, Denmark, with tariffs, even refusing to rule out taking the territory over by military force. Watch this.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security.
Okay, it's easy to pass this off as a joke, but Donald Trump and his allies have a lot to gain from Greenland. Greenland is home to the kind of rare earth minerals that power our smartphones and electric cars. Not only that, but Russia and China are already investing heavily in that very region. For more, I want to bring in Rufus Gifford. He served as U.S. ambassador to Denmark from 2013 to 2017, and of course, Greenland is a territory of Denmark. I'm so glad you're in town. What is your take on these threats? Because lots of people don't really know what's going on there. They're not paying attention. They're like, oh, he just talks big.
Yeah, well, Steph, first, thank you for having me. I know it's an extraordinary day. Truthfully, I will tell you that when I heard, like the rest of the country, him threatening one of our greatest allies, truly Denmark, we've had diplomatic relationships with Denmark since the early 1800s. And the idea that we would, through tweet and press conference, before he is even sworn in as president of the United States, threaten economics, whether it's tariffs, some sort of economic penalty, or, God forbid, military action, in order to occupy or sort of take over this sovereign land. Greenland is extraordinary. It is extraordinary stuff.
Why does he want it, right? This isn't a new idea. He's kind of had this fixation since 2019.
Well, look, Greenland is strategically critically important to the world, right? So it is Arctic. It's Arctic. It is ground zero of climate change. It is without a doubt, as you said in your opening, whether it's oil and gas, whether it's rare earth minerals, there is zero doubt that Greenland is a rich source of lots in many sources of economic. There are a lot of countries in the world that are very eager to invest in Greenland, and the United States is one of them.
Investing in Greenland is different than taking it over by military force. Don Jr., of course, Donald Trump's son, visited Greenland today, and he went with a message from his father. And the message was, quote, "We're going to treat you well." Can you explain to me, are the people of Greenland, like, looking for a new daddy? Like, how do they receive this?
So I speak at this as someone who's been to Greenland 9 times. I was ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark, which includes Greenland. It's an extraordinary part of the world, Steph. It is unlike any place that most Americans have ever been. And truthfully, what I do believe they just miss the point when they go about it in the way that they have. Meaning there is a rich country, there is a rich relationship that has existed for decades, for centuries, between Denmark and Greenland. Greenland has, without a doubt, looking for more ways to be autonomous. That is true. But do I believe that Greenland is looking to be another colony of the United States? I think that is a stretch. I don't believe that a single Greenlandic person has necessarily said, I want to be American. Maybe some have, but when you think about that, when you think about the steps that it would take, it's actually pretty remarkable, and I just do not believe that is in the cards.
A lot of his rhetoric about Greenland, the Panama Canal, and Canada resembles the same rhetoric we hear from the Kremlin, that we need these territories for security to restore American greatness. Is that not alarming to you, that, like, this is what we hear from Putin?
There's 2 pieces on this. One, during my time as ambassador, obviously, I have great friends in both Denmark and Greenland. They were, I would say, the alarm today is unlike what I've seen over the course of Donald Trump's presidency.
Alarm from whom? What do you mean?
Are my Danish friends, and I'm not talking about prime ministers and CEOs, I'm talking about average Danes, average Greenlanders, texting me saying, what is going on over there? We have been in lockstep with you. Every single time we have asked, we have lost lives in Afghanistan and Iraq. We have been with you in crisis after crisis. And here we go. And here you have an incoming president actually dictating what he thinks his relationship would be. And this is a larger issue with the way Donald Trump conducts foreign policy and the way Donald Trump conducts diplomacy. Diplomacy is this idea of soft power, right? It's about human relationships. He hasn't had a single relationship
And
with
Don
a Dane
Jr., of course,
or a
has no
Greenlander.
role in anything.
Of course not. No. If this was ever going to happen, which I do not believe it will, Steph, if this was ever going to happen, this would take years, and it would be about building personal relationships over the course of time. And frankly, I don't think there's anyone in either Denmark or Greenland that is interested in serving Donald Trump's ego in this way. And I believe that.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Oh boy. What you heard there was MSNBC's take on what's going on, in case no one has heard about what Donald Trump said on his plans with what he'd like to do with Greenland, the Panama Canal, okay? And this whole thing with Canada, which was supposedly a joke, but the left and the mainstream media has blown it all out of proportion. Okay, now you heard what this man had to say, you heard what this woman had to say. Okay, now, you know, if you're looking at this from the outside in without, you know, doing any kind of research, it's easy to get caught up and say that Donald Trump, like this man is saying, he already threw the word around dictator. Okay, his dictatorship. Okay, but that's what the left does. They take any little thing that Donald Trump says, they blow it out of proportion. They don't exactly look at all the details that are going on, okay? They just take it and run with it. And this is why the mainstream media is failing, okay? This is why the Democrat Party has failed and lost. And this is why so many people are sick and tired of the way the mainstream media takes and edits certain things that Donald Trump says. Okay, so you've seen what they said here. You've seen the videotape that they played. Okay, now I happen to stay up late, and I was watching Donald Trump's speech. I believe it was at Mar-a-Lago. It was over an hour long. Okay, and I happened to you know, watch it when reporters were asking him about Greenland, Panama, the Panama Canal, Canada. Okay, nowhere that I see, unless I missed it, but this reporter is over here saying that Donald Trump wants to also go into Mexico with the military, which I have heard nothing about that. Okay, as a matter of fact, if you look it up, you're not going to find it, and if you do, let me know in the comments. All you see is that when Donald Trump said that he'd like to turn he'd like to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Okay? A lot of people think that that's not good, that he's trying to be racist, that he's trying to take over Mexico. It's not about taking over Mexico. Okay? If anybody would look at a damn map, okay, you'd see that we have the Gulf of Mexico, which is America, which we call it today. Okay? It looks like a giant circle, and Trump is like, well, if the Panama Canal is in that area, okay, and they're charging America way more money to run their ships through there, okay, and Mexico is not doing their part to stop the flow of illegals, okay, coming, you know, from country to country to get into America, and they're making it hard and you have people like, I don't know, maybe China setting up shop in certain areas of Mexico or what have you, why not change it? Why not change the name? We're the ones bearing the brunt of all the chaos. Okay, not Mexico, not Panama. Okay, if anybody really did their research and find out why the Panama Canal was built and who built it, they'd have a little more understanding of what Trump is trying to do. Okay, and that is trying to save money on the fact on just the shipping alone of all the ships that have to come through there, all the American ships to bring supplies, the way Panama is overcharging America, okay, above everyone else that wants to send their goods through the Panama Canal. Not to mention, it was America that built the Panama Canal, okay, and it was supposedly as a swap. We build it, we keep it, okay, and we give you money. But then Jimmy Carter had to go and sell it back to them for $1. Okay, regardless of the fact of how it was going to affect America in the future, he went and gave it up. Now, I'm not trying to badmouth Jimmy Carter. Okay, the man passed away, God rest his soul. He lived to a very good age of 100 years old. Not many people on the earth, on the planet could say that. But it's just that you have so many people making it seem that what Jimmy Carter did was good for America. It actually wind up in the years to come, in the decades to come, basically bite America in the ass financially. But nobody wants to hear that, because what the liberals like to do is give to everybody else and worry about everybody else other than Americans. Okay, now I'm going to play a couple of video clips, so maybe we can shut up what this man has to say about Denmark. Okay, basically, we really don't have to show much to shut up this woman, because if anybody knows, anybody that works for MSNBC, they usually always put their foot in their mouth, because all they do is edit their video without giving it the real context, without showing the whole video. Okay, they just take bits and pieces and put it together. But it's like they make it seem that Trump is out here trying to be some dictator, just trying to go and flex his muscles. It's no secret, okay, that Russia and China are basically on the outskirts of the Atlantic, okay? And if we are one of the closest allies to Denmark and Greenland, okay, what better way to protect them and protect America's interest, and yes, in the interest of also mining for their minerals, because it'll definitely help out Greenland also. No, they rather just see us all surrounded, okay, by the enemies. Don't forget, they keep saying that Russia and China are our enemies, but they'd rather see them occupy Mexico, occupy Cuba, which is not that far off the coast, okay, off the Florida coast, on the outskirts, like I said, of Greenland. They'd rather see that, okay, and make it seem like, you know what, we're going to be safe. They're not going to do nothing. They're not going to squeeze in. Not to mention all the property that China has bought in America. Can all these liberals truly say that America is surrounding China's waterways? No, we can't say that for sure. Can any liberal really say that we own hundreds of thousands of acres in China? No, we can't. So why is it okay for China to make all the moves that they want? And yet when Donald Trump, and it's not Donald Trump that has been saying this. This is something that's been on the table for many, many years. Okay? But now, since supposedly, okay, China is a big threat, Donald Trump says, you know what? Now we're going to play a game of Risk. I don't know if anybody remembers that board game Risk, where we have to start setting up strategically in order to make sure that, you know what, China and possibly Russia don't get any closer. Number one, to our allies, and number two, to America. But the liberals don't care about that. Okay? If anybody, I'm going to throw this in also. If anybody truly does their research, okay, and truly wonders why Russia has a beef with Ukraine, if anybody looks at geographically the map of Russia, the reason why Russia didn't want Ukraine back and didn't want, I believe it was Finland as part of NATO, is because if you look at it geographically, they are surrounding Russia. Okay, nobody talks about that. So when Putin came out and said, you know what, we're against Finland joining NATO, okay, that's because once Finland joins, then they have all of NATO's back to set up shop around Russia with NATO. Okay, once Ukraine joins NATO, everybody and their mother that has a beef with Russia can set up shop in Ukraine. So if you look at it now on the American side, what Donald Trump is trying to do is say this: we're not going to let you get too close. This is what I'd like to do. Okay? I mean, if you go back to the beginning of this, if you look at her schematics, right, or whatever you want to call this right here, okay? It says Trump threatens, saying that he threatens economic force against Canada, to annex Canada. Okay? That's neither here nor there at the moment. Okay? It says, down here, Trump won't rule out using U.S. military to control Panama Canal or Greenland. Yet, to control it in order to make sure that China doesn't get out of hand. Okay? Now everybody's going to say, yeah, but he's saying that he's going to take over Greenland. That's not fair to the people in Denmark. That's not fair to the people in Greenland. Why don't we go, okay, to the horse's mouth, which is, I don't know, one of the public officials in Denmark, okay? And let's see what she has to say. Here we go.
Jeg vil selvfølgelig gerne knytte nogle ord til den diskussion, der pågår lige nu omkring Grønland, og gøre det meget klart, at set med den danske regeringsbriller, så er Grønland grønlændernes. Det er et meget, meget stolt folkefærd. Det er et sprog, det er en kultur, det er en befolkning, som er sin egen, og som formand for Naalakkersuisut, Museet i øvrigt har sagt, så er Grønland ikke til salg. USA er vores absolut tætteste allierede. Vi vil altid gerne arbejde tættere sammen med amerikanerne. Det gælder i alle forsvars- og sikkerhedspolitiske spørgsmål. Det gælder også Nordatlanten, hvor spændingerne tager til. Og vi har set med vestlige briller en meget klar interesse i, at det er USA, der, når det kommer til hele det område, at det er USA, der spiller en stor rolle, og ikke for eksempel Rusland eller andre lande. Men Grønland, det er grønlændernes. Det er deres land, vi taler om her, og det er kun Grønland, der i mine øjne kan bestemme og definere Grønlands fremtid.
Okay, so you've seen that. It was only about a minute 40. I got another clip, but before I play the next clip, I want to show you what Donald Trump said. But let's just go back, okay? I know everybody can read, but I'm going to play it again. Okay, I'll put it on mute. Okay. She comes out and says, of course I would like to say some words for the discussion. This is going on right now about Greenland, and make it very clear that in the eyes of the Danish, okay, government, Greenland is for Greenlandic people. It is a very, very proud people. It's a language, it's a culture. It's a people which are their own, okay? And as the chairman of the government of Greenland, let me go back a little bit, government of Greenland, Mute, I don't know what that means, Mute Edge has said Greenland is not for sale. Okay, fine. She goes on, the United States is by far our closest ally. We will always like to work more closely with the Americans. This applies to all defense, okay, and security policy issues. This also applies to the North Atlantic, where tensions are rising. We have seen with Western eyes a very clear interest in the fact that it is the United States that when it comes to the whole area, that it is the United States that plays a major role and not, for example, Russia or other countries. But Greenland, it's Greenlandic. It is their country we are talking about here. And only Greenland MIs can determine and define Greenland's future. Okay. So that could be taken 50-50. Okay, obviously. So if you look at it, she's saying it herself. Okay. America is Denmark and Greenland's closest ally. She sees the tension rising, okay, the way the area is. In other words, I'm going to wind up playing for you what Donald Trump says about what's going on off of, if you want to say, the coast of Greenland, okay, which is that supposedly China and Russia, for whatever it is that they're doing, they seem to just be getting closer and closer. Okay? Now that was put out by the New York Post. There's another video she puts out that she answers a reporter from the AP. Okay? So like that we can see what more they have to say about what's going on in Greenland and what they want to do with Greenland. And one more side note. Okay? MSNBC and the mainstream media is showing you Donald Trump's son went to Greenland. Okay? I try to find the video. If I find it, I'll try to put it in. If not today, tomorrow, or if this, continues. But it shows his son with some other, I forgot who exactly he was. I believe it was in a restaurant. It was somewhere where they were being greeted by people in Greenland, and they all had on, okay, Make America Great Again hats. And Donald Trump's son is talking to people in Greenland, and they like the fact, okay, if they become part of America. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that those certain people, that group of people, is speaking for all of Greenland. Not saying that. Okay? But when you have a country with only 45,000 people and their economy is not really doing great, okay? But they know that they have the resources to build up. They know that they have the Americans as their closest allies as far as military at this point. Why wouldn't the people of Greenland welcome America to be a part of them, to be annexed like them? I mean, we did it with Puerto Rico. Okay? Why not Greenland? Now, I know some people may not like this. That's fine. To each his own. But the way the mainstream media is trying to spin this already is saying that Donald Trump wants to go in like a dictator. Has not anybody learned how Donald Trump talks when he wants to do business? Okay? It's not about him saying that he's going to go there with a military force. And what's he going to do? Start killing people in Greenland? That's the way they're trying to portray him. Donald Trump is a businessman. Donald Trump sees things that can happen in Greenland that are going to benefit America and benefit Greenland, and also beef up security for Greenland and Denmark even better. Okay? But that's not what the mainstream media wants you to know. They don't want that. They want everybody to look at Donald Trump like he's some dictator. Now, when Donald Trump talks about him occupying with military force, obviously, I'll play the clip right now. In my opinion, what he's saying, that it has to do more with Panama, the Panama Canal, than anything else. Because China has a very big influence in the Panama Canal. Let's get to that video clip. Here we go.
Please.
Back on Greenland, your position is clear, but have you directed your staff to take specific actions to draw plans? And can you elaborate again, you didn't rule out military coercion in
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time.
Okay, I'm going to jump in real quick. You heard what he just said. Okay? We need Greenland for military purposes. Okay? He's been told that for a very long time. Who told him that? But now that he wants to act on it, people make it seem as if, you know what? No, he wants to be a dictator and just go take it. He's going to say something else. Now, you heard what the woman said before him. Okay? She specifically said that they don't own Greenland. Greenland belongs to the Greenlandic people. Okay, listen to what he says.
You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do,
you see, people don't even really know if Denmark has a legal right to it. The woman that I just played, the prime minister or whoever she is, before I played this, said, okay, Greenland belongs to the Greenlandic people, which means what? Denmark has no right to Greenland. Basically.
they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Have you asked your staff to draw plans for acquisition? I mean, are you active?
No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism and a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in...
All right, I'm going to leave it at that because they asked him a question about Elon Musk. We'll get to that at another time. Now, the reason why I play that is because the liberals are going apeshit about what Trump wants to do with Greenland. I'm going to play the second video now of what the woman said on to another reporter from the AP. Okay? Which basically sounds to me like, you know what? There's a deal that could be made, okay? And I'm thinking that they'll leave it up to a vote for the people in Greenland, okay? What Donald Trump does with that afterwards, I don't know, okay? I just hope that, you know what? It's not something that's going to make America look bad. I'll be the first one to say that, okay? But here's one question that I have. One question in particular, okay? Because the liberals keep talking about Trump being a dictator. When Barack Obama was president, okay, Gaddafi was in power, okay, Libya was doing okay. There was no secret, okay, that for years, okay, the Democrats and the military machine have been wanting to take power over Libya. What happened with that? How come the mainstream media wasn't upset on how that happened, in case anybody forgot? Why doesn't anybody talk about how happy Hillary Clinton was that Gaddafi fell? What's going on in Libya? What has happened since then? So it's okay that when there's a Democrat in power, for them to go and just start wars and go kill, innocent people wind up getting killed. And they say it's because of democracy. We have to protect this. We got to take over that. But now Donald Trump says, you know what? I've been told for a very long time about Greenland, what's going on. Okay? Now you can see the ships out straight from Greenland out there of China and Russia, whoever it is, which means they're getting closer. Okay? If we are Denmark's closest ally, then why can't we make a stake? Why can't we stake a claim, I should say, for Greenland? See, they won't give all the details like that. Now, I know it may sound ugly, okay? But I highly, truly doubt that Donald Trump is going to go there and shed blood. Okay? He may be tough on his stances when it comes to business, but I highly doubt that. But let's go to what the woman said on another interview, and I believe it was after the first interview, of what she has to say about Greenland and America. Here we go. Okay, this is a very quick clip, okay? I'm going to read what she says. I know everybody can read, but I'm going to read it also, okay?
Jeg synes, det er vigtigt at holde fast i, at det på den...
She says, I think it's important to keep in mind that it's good on the one hand,
En side er godt, at der er en stigende amerikansk interesse for, hvad der foregår.
that there is a growing interest from the American side in what is going on, also in the North Atlantic Ocean and in the Arctic.
Også i Nordatlanten, også i det arktiske område, fordi nogle af de spændinger, vi ser i andre dele
Because some of the tensions we see in other parts of the world are starting to come to the Arctic area.
af verden, ja, de begynder også at komme til det arktiske område. Så jeg som en meget, meget tæt allieret med
So I, as a very close ally to the United States, think there is a reason to be pleased with the growing interest from the USA.
USA, synes jeg, der er grund til at glæde sig over den stigende amerikanske interesse. Men det bliver nødt til at foregå på en måde, der er respektfuld
But it has to go off in a way that is respectful towards the population of Greenland.
over for det grønlandske folk. Og vi bliver nødt til at kunne samarbejde på den måde.
And we must cooperate in the same way we are used to, among other things, in NATO and in other international fora.
Vi plejer at gøre det blandt andet i NATO-sammenhæng og i andre internationale fora.
In other words, what she's basically saying, okay, is what a lot of people, what Donald Trump is saying. Nobody really knows if Denmark owns Greenland. Obviously, what she's saying, they don't. But if America is showing that much interest, and with everything that's going on in the Arctic, okay, in the Atlantic Arctic, okay, all the tensions around the world, I mean, everybody can make their own conclusions on what she's saying. Basically, the way I see it, I think they want in. Okay? I think they're saying, you know what? Wait a minute. Donald Trump may sound a little too heavy-handed on this, but in all honesty, it does make sense. If the USA is our closest ally, and they're looking at it and saying, you know what? Maybe we need to start setting up shop over there. Okay? This is what, we want in return. You're going to get protection. Greenland could be a part of the United States. Okay? Why would any country say no? It's not just them being an ally. Now it's them being part of the United States. Unless I'm looking at all this all wrong, I don't know, people. You tell me. Okay? But you heard it from the horse's mouth, even though we don't understand her language, but we have to, take it with some faith that that's exactly what she's saying. Okay? Does everything right now sound heavy-handed? Of course. But leave it up to the mainstream media to make it sound heavy-handed. Okay? Now, Donald Trump over here saying that he's going to put tariffs on Denmark, that's not going to happen. Why? Because this woman's already putting it out there that, you know what? We have to make sure this is what the people in Greenland want. She never once came on and said what Denmark wants. So the whole thing with the tariffs, I don't think is going to get that far, in all honesty. Okay? I think when they sit down at the table and they figure everything out, they're going to be like, you know what? It does make sense for America to go there and protect and be part and have that part of Greenland as part of America. But we'll see, because the way things are going on right now, who knows what kind of negotiation is going to happen. But right away, the mainstream media wants to say that Trump wants to be a dictator. And that is not the case. Okay? Now we're going to go to what he has to say about Canada, because first it was a joke. The mainstream media has blown it out of proportion about Trump saying he wants to take over Canada and make Justin Trudeau the governor, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Okay? But Trump comes out and speaks at the same convention speaking he had at Mar-a-Lago, and he says a couple of things about Canada that I didn't even know. So we'll get to that. Here we go.
As you said, you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. we lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need the dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers.
Dude, calm down.
And Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function.
Okay, so there you heard that. Okay. We're helping Canada, which is fine. We love our Canadian brothers and sisters and all that. But he's making a point. Okay. We're helping them. We can basically drive there. Okay. We're giving them hundreds of billions of dollars. So he tells Trudeau, you guys might as well be a state. Because we're protecting them. They're helping us, It's a back and forth thing. But look at the way the politicians in Canada are running Canada. Okay, they're taking away more rights from their people. They're running it like a draconian leftist liberal paradise. Okay, and we got to go and help them and have no say-so on what's going on. But yet they make it difficult for America on many different fronts. Not the people, the politicians. So he goes and he tells Trudeau, jokingly, said he's going to make him governor. And people want to get all bent out of shape over it. Especially the mainstream media. Now, when he comes and he asked them, okay, and I bring this up because it's important, when he said about the military force of Panama, Greenland, and Canada, he said, no, economic force. Now, people may say, well, he only meant that about Canada. Okay, me personally, I think if he uses any kind of military force, it's going to be for Panama because that's where China is more predominant at. Okay, he's definitely not going to do it against Canada, and I don't think he's going to do it against Greenland. And the reason why I say that, okay, is because of the next quick clip I'm going to show you, and then we're going to wrap it up. Here we go.
I just want to say that it's a very special place. It needs security for itself, but it also needs security very much for the world. The location really, you see the people and the ships sailing around, and they're not the right ships, and they're not the ships you want to know about. So we need security, and our country needs it, and the whole world needs it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are right.
You got.
Okay, he's talking on the phone, obviously. You all can hear that. He's telling some of the people here in Greenland, in this area, whatever this is, a diner or something like that. One guy screams out, yes. A woman down here underneath the camera, she says, you are right. Now, people may look at this and be like, oh, that's just a handful of people. That is true. That is true. Me personally, like I said, I don't think that that Donald Trump is going to bring any problems to the people of Greenland. But listen to what more he has to say. Here we go.
You guys like that, right?
Yeah, we're learning a lot. It's been great. Actually, incredibly beautiful place. The people are incredible. The welcome was spectacular. It's pretty amazing.
Well, that's great. Well, you go have a good time, everybody. And
We're going to treat you well, and you know that. And just take care of yourselves. Thank you all very much.
See you soon.
Be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, he says we're gonna treat you well, and one of the other people from Greenland says we'll see you. What he said? We'll see you soon. Let me go back just to make sure.
See you soon.
Be good.
Yeah, see you soon. Okay. Now, just like any country, just like any state, you're going to have people for and against. Okay? A political official. All right? When Donald Trump comes out and says we're going to treat you well, that I believe. Unlike when, I don't know, a certain person went to Haiti, okay, and you all know who I'm talking about, and promised and promised and promised, and nothing was done, and Haiti is damn near falling. I mean, it's gone to nothing. Okay? I didn't see the mainstream media and people on the left complaining about that. Why? Because it was somebody from your side? You know? It just seems like the mainstream media wants to spin all this around. Now, does it mean that he's not going to flex his muscles at Panama? That I truly believe he will. For two reasons. Number one, the president of Panama is pushing back because he knows that that money, that what he's charging America to go through that waterway, is making him rich. Okay, while the rest of Panama suffers. Okay, and he's in cahoots with China, obviously. So there's definitely going to be a lot of pushback there. That I admit. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens there. As far as Canada, there's no way Trump is going to do anything to destroy the relationship with Canada. What I think Trump is doing, and this is why I believe, okay, that Trudeau resigned on Monday, because before he resigned, he had that meeting with Trump, and Trump probably told him a thing or two, especially money-wise, economically, and Trudeau says, there's no way of me getting out of this. I'm going to bail, because in my opinion, what Trump is doing with Canada, like I said, not the people, the crooked politicians, okay, is that he's probably doing another squeeze play. Like, this is what I'm going to say, okay? We give you guys a ton of money every year. Now it's time to start paying some of that back to America. And I think what Trump is doing, okay, is actually weeding out the bad politicians, whoever's going to talk bad in Canada and here about what he wants to do with Canada. But it's part of his, it's part of the way he does negotiations. I'm going to push back. I'm going to say this. I'm going to threaten to do this until we get back what we rightly deserve. Okay, the same thing he did with NATO, the same thing he did with all these other big organizations. We're not going to pay no more. We're not going to keep doing this. If you want us to keep funding the money, okay, then we might as well make you a state. Basically, people think that he wants to be this big dictator that wants to go and take over countries. If that's what he wanted to do, he wouldn't have pulled back all the soldiers that we had in the Middle East. He was putting an end to those wars. See, what the Democrats and the rhinos like to do, okay, and the powers that be, they like to go to other countries, blow it up, take over, forget about the people, and take all their resources. Okay? Trump's not lying when he said that Greenland strategically and security-wise is good, and they also have a lot of resources. He says it straight out. But do you actually think him knowing that we are the closest allies to them in Denmark, that he's going to go just guns blazing and take over the country? How is that supposed to look? Okay? But that's the way the mainstream media wants to portray it. Meanwhile, you got people here, even if it's one person or two people or 10 people that are rooting for Trump, I highly doubt, okay, that this is something that's going to turn ugly the way the mainstream media wants everyone to think. I mean, listen, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Do I think that there's going to be a vote on this? Yes, and rightly so, there should be a vote on it. Do I think that if Greenland votes in favor to say no, Do I think that Donald Trump's going to give up? No, I think that he's going to go back and try to come up with another strategy and say, okay, we need to do this, this, and this, because besides making money off of their resources and bringing more jobs or whatever the case is to take care of the people, like he just said, we're going to take care of you. I think that he's going to push the issue and say, listen, this definitely is a matter of national security. We need to figure this out. Trump is a hardball negotiator. Okay? He's not going to go in the way Hillary Clinton did to Haiti and promise them, okay, to be the land of milk and honey, took all that money and left Haiti in the dust, and look at what it's become. People just don't understand that. He's not going to do what Joe Biden did with Afghanistan and pull the troops out and just let countless numbers of people just die. Americans included, soldiers, American soldiers included. But leave it up to the mainstream media to spin everything around. Okay? Regardless of the fact of how Trudeau has totally screwed up Canada, the mainstream media won't touch that. They'll talk about how Trump said he'll make him governor. Me personally, I think it's funny. I mean, I could just, if that was to happen, I could just see Trudeau going from this power-hungry dictator that he is, okay, down to like wearing a hat that says governor. I mean, it's almost comical. Not that there's anything wrong with being a governor, but I'm just saying, it's like, people need to understand, when Trump goes in, when Trump sees something where he knows he's going to be able to save money for Americans and strengthen America, and also be able to provide security for our allies, which is Greenland, Denmark, and Canada, yes, he has to be a little heavy at the negotiating table. Do I put it past him to get a little more heavy-handed with Panama? No, I don't put it past him. Because that, in my opinion, is a bigger threat, being that China owns, let's just say they own Panama. Okay? Because if Panama really wanted America's back, they would not be charging America way more to ship, for us to get our goods shipped through the Panama Canal, than anybody else, and give China such a strong stronghold, okay, in Panama. Same thing goes with Cuba. We should have had relations with Cuba decades ago, but we know how that goes. People wind up leaving because they can't deal with it. Okay, they escape. Why? Look at the power. Look at the people that are in power in Cuba. Look at the people that are in power in Panama. But yet the mainstream media wants to spin it around, and then saying that he's going to send the military to Mexico. For what? I haven't heard of that. Nobody can honestly say they heard of it. If you have, let me know in the comments. All he said was that he wants to change the name from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And for the left to come out and say that it's racist, that it's wrong, wait a minute. Was it racist and wrong when all you leftists out there are dropping, basically changing names and dropping names from places like, I don't know, libraries, colleges, high schools, tearing down statues, trying to rename holidays on the calendar? I mean, you guys don't have a problem with that. Why shouldn't Trump have the right to change it from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? That whole Gulf does not belong to Mexico alone. If there is a line in between, up into a certain point that becomes American waters, then it'll be from there up into inland, the mainland of America. That'll be the Gulf of America. And then going down, it'll be the Gulf of Mexico. We can do it like that. But people are going to find a problem with that, no matter what. I mean, and in all honesty, I don't see why everybody else around the world could pretty much do what they want, but when it comes to America, when it comes to certain things, people frown upon it and say, no, you can't do that. Why not? Because we just don't want you to. But then we, okay, can bear the brunt. We could be stepped on. Okay? We could dish out of our pockets, the taxpayers, to help everyone else to do whatever, and while doing it, they still spit in our faces. You know? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at all this wrong. I don't know. The comment section is open. You people can leave comments. If there's anything I missed or I don't know, I got it wrong, let me know. I'm open to criticism. Okay? I'm open to it. But like I said, I honestly do not think that Trump is going to push any kind of military action against Canada and Greenland. Okay? I think he's going to try to negotiate hard. I don't even think he's really even going to try to annex Canada, in all honesty. I really don't. If it happens, I'd be amazed. But that I can't see. Okay? Greenland, on the other hand, that's more military strategic. That's something that people need to pay attention to, because while everybody's trying to like change the narrative, look at how close China is coming. I'm not even thinking about Russia, in all honesty, because I think as soon as Trump takes the Oval Office, I think there's going to be negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. That problem's going to be solved. It's China, in my opinion, that's getting closer and closer to American land. Okay? A few miles off the Florida Keys in Cuba. Not too far off of Greenland. Okay? In Panama. Look at a map, people. Look at a map and look at how close China has gotten. And if you look at the map of the Gulf of Mexico, okay, just look down the Florida Keys where Cuba's at. China's right there. Turn left. Okay, if you're looking up at America, turn left. Panama's there. China's right there. And then you go way up north, okay, to where Greenland is at, or whichever way that is. China's on the ocean out there. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. People may not see it that way. That's fine. But if that's the way Trump is seeing it, if people have been talking about it, like he said, he's been told about Greenland for the longest, it might be something that people should pay attention to. Okay? And no, this is not about blowing a dog whistle. This is about, you know what? How much more do we let these Democrats go and do deals with like China and all these places that hate America, and they get closer and closer and closer? I mean, look at all the land that China has bought in America, and this is something that a lot of people, myself included, didn't really know about. Okay? They're buying up a lot of companies and farmland, and a lot of companies they're buying up, from what I know, I could be wrong, but they're buying up a lot of food, a lot of companies that deal with food. Just food for thought. Think about it. No pun intended. Just saying. But anyway, I hope you like the content. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Once again, people, like I said, if I'm looking at all this wrong, leave it in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if all of this makes sense. Tell me if you think that Donald Trump is going to get heavy-handed with the places that we're talking about, that I spoke about. Me personally, I don't think so. I think he'll get heavy-handed with Panama to a point, but I definitely don't think he's going to get heavy-handed with Greenland and Canada. That's just the way I see it. Okay? And there's a lot of people in Canada that love America. And just a quick point. I was watching one, I forgot who it was exactly, but they made a good point. There's no way you want to annex Canada, okay, to be the 51st state, because when it comes to voting, Canada has a big influx, okay, or I should say a big presence, a big liberal populace. So to annex them to be the 51st state, that is definitely not something America wants to do, and it's definitely not something Trump will want to do, and leave America in jeopardy for another election after Canada is the 51st state to have millions of more liberals voting. That's not going to happen. So keep that in mind. Okay? Just keep that in mind. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. And pray for Donald Trump. Peace.